Hey, everybody, and welcome to Health Coach Tip Tuesday, where every week we are going to share the tips, tools, and resources you need to confidently solve your clients' health issues and grow your business as a health coach or professional. For those of you that are ready to dig in, drop the word health below, and we are going to send you a link to connect with one of our course counselors. That would be myself, Jess, or Kelly. And I am Piper Gibson, your co-host, and you guys may recognize the man next to me. This is Reed Davis from his tropical locale. How are you, Reed?
I'm fantastic. Thank you, Piper, and hello, everybody. Thank you for visiting and dropping in on another little Facebook Live call.
Fantastic. We are going to talk about how you can be the health coach champion your clients need. So Reed wrote a fantastic blog post about it. If you haven't seen it, go check it out on the Functional Diagnostic Nutrition website. And he did speak about it as well at the conference we just had in November. So Reed, give us your insights on how health coaches can be the champion that their people need.
Well, that's pretty simple. I mean, in the blog, I'm not sure I make it that simple because, blogs are kind of heady. You're trying to intellectualize and academicize and things like that. You want it to sound real smart, but it's actually real simple. You need a purpose in your life to accomplish anything, or even just to be happy. And, if you're not happy, what good are you going to do in the world? You can't spread the love if you don't have a lot for yourself. And for me, it's a mission that I've been on from the first time I realized that people were not, this is over 20 years ago now, people weren't getting what they needed from their healthcare providers. And so, you know the story. I pretty much was running a clinic, and the theme became constant from almost day one. It just took me a little while to catch on to like everybody walking in the door had already seen 5 or 8 or more practitioners and spent a lot of money, and they weren't better yet. And I just wondered, well, what the hell's up with that? It just didn't make any sense to me. I was coming from another profession. I was in environmental law, and I switched over to what's the environment doing to people, studying that. And people walking in were saying, oh, I've been to this many people, and I've had the same problem for 5 years or 10 years, and it bothers them every day, and it's pretty much ruining their lives. And my purpose, or my thoughts at the time were, wow, what a ripoff. People are getting ripped off. And so it's not just standard medicine, by the way. It's standard medicine, we know, serves a good purpose. It will save your life. Doctors care about people, and they want to help, but they're not able to handle the effects of long-term chronic stress and those kind of diseases. If you don't have something that shows up on a test result that's real abnormal, or on an X-ray or a CT scan or something, you don't have a tumor or broken bone or something like that. They're not health coaches. Doctors are not health coaches. So, but it's not just them. There's at the time, especially 20 years ago, there was every kind of quackery you can imagine. Because the problem was this, alternative practitioners of the day recognized people would sort of try their stuff. So I ran into every kind of joke, therapy and modality and things. Or at least I had to start to discern which ones were legitimate and which ones weren't. People had tried everything. So here I'm hearing all this stuff, and I just decided that I was going to be the last person they needed to see. Now, I was really naive, and I didn't know how I was going to be that last person. But I'm a good researcher and kind of take a scientific approach, And then it began the whole journey of running thousands of labs on thousands of people and coming up with FDN, which is a system that anybody could use to figure out what's going on health-wise. And so, anyway, that's my answer. But my purpose was to be the last person they needed to see and to stop the rip. I'm a consumer hero, an advocate of consumers, even in the environmental law field. I was recycling, saving the planet, doing all this lobbying and stuff to do some good in the world. And so that was my purpose for establishing a health coaching program, or another, becoming a health coach. I became a really good and really successful one. It took me 8 years, but I worked really hard and again ran the labs and figured out a system that actually ended up really helping those same people who were walking in saying, I've tried everything. And so that was the beginning. Now, not everyone is going to have that same purpose. Back to your question, what's it take to be successful? It's your mindset first thing. It's not, look, I can give you all the tools, I can give you the protocols, I give you stuff, but if you don't have the mindset that you're going to do some good in the world or have a purpose, then what's going to get you up every day? Because after a while, it's not the money, it's not the fame, it's not the fortune, it's none of that stuff. It's that you're actually accomplishing something. So your purpose might not be the consumer advocate position that I had that really affected me a lot. It might be that you had your own health problem and you slowly overcame a huge part of it. You might not be completely better, but you're a lot better than you used to be. That could be your purpose. You got to say, I know there's other people like me who had this problem or that problem, and they're out there struggling like I was. They've been to every doctor, been told nothing's wrong with you, or well, here we found this, take a pill, but it doesn't really address what concerns you. And so then you've tried all the different modalities and therapies, and Dr. Thaddeus P. Schmedlaps, whatever it is, and I've been to see Professor so and so, and I'm still not better. So you're going to identify. What you're going to do is go out with that purpose that you're going to help to those people, and they're going to be attracted to your values. And so, in addition to your purpose, you have to learn how to express those values that you have to the public so that they can find you. So, this is why we talk in some of our business meetings. It's not so much about finding people who need you. It's allowing people who need you to find you. So you've just got a lot of sort of outflow and output. Let people know what your purpose is. That's the main thing. They're going to love the story. People love hearing about how I was in the office and this lady came in with this problem, and the doctors and the drugs and the stuff, and I just took this simple approach, and it ended up being a miracle for her, and things like that. So I've got lots and lots of those stories. I tell them in the course all the time, relating to individual labs that we might be teaching about, or individual, chemistry, biology, anatomy, whatever. There's always a story to go along with it. So I think my first advice to everyone is get your story together, and then learn how to go out there and speak it so that the values and then people can recognize those values, and they'll say, hey, where do I sign up? You won't be begging or pleading with anyone to work with you. Oh, please let me help you. Wrong point of view, right?
Absolutely. And I totally agree. And I really, that resonates with me, because my story is not your story. It's very different. But when I go out and share that, I attract those people who relate to our situation and what we went through and why I became an FDN.
So why did you become an FDN?
Well, 8 years ago, my son was diagnosed with a neurological tic, and the doctors just kept telling us, ignore it, he'll grow out of it. Well, it kept getting worse and worse and worse, much like Tourette syndrome. It was one day he was fine, the next day it was very scary. And we went to doctor after doctor, and no one could help us. So I started doing my own research, and we started making our own changes. And what FDN works, it works. And, we've really been able to heal his body 8 years later. He's a teenager and he's doing great. But, it was my passion to turn around and help those other people out there who were in that similar situation.
Exactly. And so, we've trained, 3,000 people. And frankly, 1,000 just did it for their own edification. They worked on themselves, and I never really heard from them again. And that's okay. If it served a purpose, I'm happy with that. But we have a lot more who actually do have this story. They have decided that they want to help other people, which is our mission. It's to educate. Our mission is to educate as many people as possible how you get well and stay well naturally, so that you in turn can go teach others. So, come and learn. then go teach others. And you, by the way, can make a really good living doing it because it's a business and people will pay. They're happy to. Matter of fact, they've already been paying, and in most cases, a lot more than what you'd even charge them.
Oh, yeah.
So how do you find people responding? We just, before the recording started, talked a bit about your business and how you're able to help people and pay the bills, contribute to your family support, at least. I know you're married with kids and all that, but
yeah,
how's that working for you?
It's working great. And, I really get to follow my passion, which when I graduated college, I didn't know this was going to be my passion, but it kind of led me down, my son getting sick led me down this path. And it's been great and it's growing, and it seems like this year growing pretty rapidly. But I always tell people, when we get on the phone and we're talking about the FDN course, is that get out there, share your passion, share why you're doing it, share your knowledge, and people will find you and it will start to snowball. And I really see that. Like, I really have a referral-based business because I have successful clients that refer other people.
Yeah. And that's the key, is building, if you want to build a really successful stress-free practice, you can't be out there hustling and marketing all the time.
Right.
Like I wrote the blog, and I'm under some pressure to write blogs. I've got several in the bank, so if I want to take a week off of writing a blog, I can. We'll probably have enough blogs to last another month. And by the way, there's some doozies coming up. You want to stand by for those blogs coming up. I got some really good stuff for you. We could have more Facebook Lives and just provide that leadership that I think this whole industry needs, And one good thing about this health coaching space, is that the people are dedicated. Like at the you mentioned we had a conference, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what now, it was a typical sort of functional medicine conference. We had the big sessions and I spoke and some other keynote speakers spoke. We had Paul Chek, we had Tatis Karazian, we had Karen, we had all these great people. And then we had the breakout sessions. And there was vendors around the room, on the side, and there are other stakeholders. There are people who support the FDN practitioner, the products and services that we have to use for our clients. They were, to a person, they all have said, well, you have the most amazing tribe, that your tribe are the most dedicated, sincere, and, just fun people and great community and happy to be. Matter of fact, I just got an invitation from one of those vendors to be a speaker at another conference for them. And they said, hey, we want you, got to be part of this thing, because you have such a great tribe. And so, it's just, it all starts with that purpose. I had mine in the beginning. You'll find yours. If you don't have one, if you say, I just want to help others, that's a good place to start. But it's not good enough. You have to go deeper than that. Really get in a quiet spot, sit up straight, breathe, close your eyes. Really start to connect to that breath and that present time and ask yourself, why do I want to do this? What is my purpose? Not just to help others, but start to niche it down a little bit, to whatever your particular situation is, or something you've observed, or some value you have, or some deep belief system that's in you. Not just to help out. We all just want to help others, but you got to dial it down a bit, because if you stand up in front of a group of people and say, I just want to help people, they've heard it before. But if you stand up there and say, here's my story, and then that's why you want to help people, they connect to it, and they'll share those values. And like I said, they'll be lining up at the door. And when they've actually gotten results, because our system actually gets results, it's the other thing, you have to have that piece of the puzzle in there. You can't just want to help people. You need a system that has extremely reasonable results, like guaranteed reasonable results.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can ask for those referrals. And that's what the idea of a stress-free business is. It's not needing to be consistently pounding the pavement and all the different things you can do for marketing. It's people, your phone ring, like you just said, hey, your phone's ringing. And why? Because they know somebody knew somebody who used you, or hired you, or something like that. And they want to know, can you help me too?
Yeah, that's
when you
that's
get
how it
that
works.
going, yep, that's how it works.
For sure.
Yeah, so the only other thing I had in the blog, I mean, read the blog, and if you have any questions, just let us know in our Facebook group or however that works, and we'll answer it. We'll do some more Facebook Lives, talk more about how we're doing it, and the other guys aren't.
Totally. So before we get off, I have one question for you. And we get this question a lot. And the question is, why do people want to come see an FDN or a health coach as opposed to going to their naturopath or a doctor?
Again, they're caught in the cycle of trial and error. So they've had a problem. It's probably a pretty serious thing that's actually affecting their life, making them less happy. They've been to 4 or 5 or more practitioners and gotten the same story, like there's nothing wrong with you, your blood work looks normal, or, here's a pill for this or that, but it's not really addressing the entire person. And so that's one reason. Even, look, naturopaths and DOs and chiropractors and they're all really good, talented people. They have a certain modality or way they like to work that resolves a lot of problems. But with FDN, it's kind of different because we're not physicians for the most part, so we can't diagnose or treat a specific thing. Even though we use lab work, we're trained. And what I discovered in all those years, and with all the great mentorship that I had, by the way, I discovered my own pieces of the puzzle, thousands of tests, thousands of people. If you can just run a few tests, look at hormones, immune system, digestion, detoxification, energy production, nervous system balance, things like that. It's actually fairly simple to assess once you get it. Then you, instead of treating one specific thing that they came to you with those complaints, you work holistically and address every cell, tissue, organ, and system in the body with a holistic program. It includes your diet, your rest, your exercise, your stress reduction. And by the way, stress is ubiquitous. Most people don't even know about half the stress they're under. They're just unaware of these kinds of stress. And then supplements, so DRESS. So if you assess and dress, you've got a system that will apply to any condition in what's called a non-specific manner. People just get better. And whatever that specific thing was is reduced or greatly diminished or even completely appears. And as you know, we've seen diagnoses of one thing or another, these really just labels for a cluster of symptoms, completely go away. And then the person's left with their normal, how do I be happy? How to pursue your happiness, your bliss, if you will. You're eating and living right, and you start to get the other things involved in being happy in line as well. So the reason people go to FDN is to get that system in place, get their physiology and biochemistry and anatomy and things like straightened out, and that affects brain chemistry. And you start to think about what's really important in life. So you think of mental, emotional, spiritual happiness as well. And it's really just getting your ducks in a row. People come to FDNs to get their ducks in a row.
Agreed. Absolutely. So do you have one tip that you want people to take away today before we hop off?
Well, there's many, but I'll just say relative to today's conversation, sit up straight and close your eyes and take a few deep breaths and focus on your breath. Just breathe in and out through your nose and start to just stay there. Let any thoughts that come by just pass through for a little bit. Do that for a few minutes, as long as you can, and then start thinking about your purpose in life. What do you want to accomplish with yourself? Or what do you want to do? And that becomes kind of a dream. And if you just keep focusing on that, it become your passion. And then you can get up every day and know what you want to do when you grow up.
That's right. And that is true. What do you want to do when you grow up? Well, thank you guys for joining us today. Don't forget, if you drop the word health in the chat below, we are going to send you a link to get registered with one of the course counselors. Lori commented, can't wait to catch the next conference. So Lori, make sure to come join us. It is a ton of fun and a ton of learning. So join us. And Reed, thank you for your words of wisdom today. Always appreciate it. I know I always learn a lot. But thank you guys for joining us. And if you have any other comments, drop them below and we'll definitely hit you up later. But thank you guys. Bye, Reed. Thank you. Enjoy Hawaii.
Thanks, Piper, for all you're doing. You're really doing a great job. And I'm here on a business retreat, folks.
Poor Reed. So sad.
Corey. Okay, bye.
All right, bye.